Sri Lanka's most powerful news brand.
The central bank has taken regulatory action on ETI Finance Limited and Swarnamahal Financial Services PLC. The action has been taken with a view to safeguard the interests of the depositors and other creditors of the two companies and to ensure safety and soundness of the financial system.
Thereby, the central bank has decided to appoint a panel to manage the affairs of both companies and to restrict the withdrawal of maturing deposits and renew such deposits for a period of 6 months. In addition, the payment of interest due to deposits must be done as per agreed terms and conditions. The central bank says the companies can finalize the negotiations with the prospective investors, and the central bank will facilitate suitable investors as per the applicable laws and regulations.
We didn't run the business. We tried to improve the situation through directions, and the directions were violated on a regular basis. That's one of the reasons why it didn't turn around. So now we have taken it into our own hands. The board of directors have very little powers. Our panel of experts will run the show. Okay, there was mismanagement, which has led to a liquidity problem. In addition, there was consistent violation of our directions. The liquidity issue was identified some time back, but it became critical now. So we had to take action. We have been, essentially, when did we first issue a direction? Some years back, I think, right? 2012 was the first set of directions. No, we don't think it's too late. But if if one is honest, that there probably has been regulatory forbearance, which is, I don't think one can blame anybody in this room for that. But the political climate in this country, you can't always. Our technicians are not always able to operate in the way they need to. But now we have a carte blanche to do what we have to do.
So it's central bank's fault, right?
How is it the central bank's fault? We have been trying to get them on the right course, right? We've been trying to get them on the right course. Now we've come to the conclusion that we need to move to take it over and do it ourselves.
Is it too late?
I've just told you it's not too late. We don't think it's too late. Because for the reasons that I told you. Often in this country, the delays are caused by political factors interfering into the workings of institutions. And here again, that has happened in the past. So now we have to make sure it doesn't happen in the future.
We heard from the governor of the central bank the situation pertaining to ETI and Swarnamahal Financial Services PLC. Now, with all of this happening, we also have information to say that a Malaysian businessman was trying to mediate a deal to bring in a Singaporean company to come in and invest in ETI and Swarnamahal Financial Services PLC. Now, this company in question is a company identified by the name of Straits Grid PTE, a Singaporean-based company. The mother company is something else, but the company is that. The person who is trying to mediate this deal is Mr. Jaya Sudhir Jayaram. Who is this Jaya Sudhir Jayaram?
Chaturanga, Jaya Sudhir Jayaram comes into our country to carry out a $250 million US project. And that's the Horton Square project, to construct a 75-story residential complex. And interestingly, the company has been set up on the 3rd of April 2017, and it appears to be a special purpose vehicle.
Right.
Also interestingly, the groundbreaking for the project, the Horton Square project, happens just a fortnight later, 14 days later, on the 17th of April. Now, the shareholders of this company are Muthusamy Manivanan, Jaya Sudhir Jayaram, and a corporate investor going by the name of Paradise Isle Holdings Limited. Now, Paradise Isle Holdings Limited is a company registered in the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, and has been named and identified in the leaked Mossack Fonseca Panama Papers revelations.
Yes, Faraz. Now, it's interesting because we see that two of these names that you just mentioned, actually all three of the shareholders that you mentioned are having some sort of black history or a dark history in terms of financial situations surrounding them. As you said, as you can see here, it's clearly mentioned on the offshore leaks database of the International Consortium of Journalists that the company that you just mentioned, Paradise Isle Private Limited, is in fact mentioned in the Mossack Fonseca company and the Panama Leaks papers.
I think we ought to point out that the mere mention of their name in the Panama papers as an offshore entity does not necessarily confer any sort of wrongdoing, but we're mentioning it because it may well be relevant.
As we go along with the people who are involved in this whole transaction, we can see that there is in fact something alarming for us. I'm going to move on and bring to your attention of a situation where the minister in charge of Megapolis and Western Development, partly Champika Ranawaka, soon after this project was announced, found suspicious dealings between two of the shareholders. He seemed to have the cause to ask the IGP, the Inspector General of Police, to launch an investigation into two shareholders who allegedly had dealings among them. They were Muthusami Manivanan and this Jaya Sudhir Jayaram that we are talking about.
Right. So this is the same Jaya Sudhir Jayaram who was arrested at the Bandaranaike International Airport in Colombo on the 10th of November 2017, and he was trying to smuggle out $100,000 along with his son, who was traveling with him at the same time.
They both had $50,000 each with them, and there was also another two people who got caught or got arrested by the customs officials on the same day with another $108,000.
Right.
Those people were fined, but these two gentlemen said, no, look, they were nabbed on the 10th of November, and they said, look, we'll come back, keep the money with you, we'll come back on the 23rd and face the relevant legal procedures that are required, and we'll sort it out on the 23rd. 23rd came and went by, they never came back to the country. So very recently, I think yesterday, the government decided to confiscate all that money, including the 108,000, which is nabbed with the other two people.
Right. Now, Chaturanga, how does this become a problem for the public? This appears to be a private project. So why the public angle to it?
For us, now, you know that there were various projects announced during, from the time 2015 up until today, the second day of 2018, there were various mega projects announced. But we also see a situation where these mega projects are not actually realized, they're not actually completed, or we don't see any positive construction or anything happening in terms of these projects. Now, we see people coming into the country with a lot of money, saying we are going to invest in this particular project. We've seen the situation when it comes to the tallest building in our country.
That's right, and the tire factory.
Volkswagen.
And Volkswagen.
Yes.
That's right. So I get your point that this has become of public interest because of the type of investor that is encouraged to come to Sri Lanka, and soon Sri Lanka will end up with a fairly robust reputation for being an easy touch in terms of money laundering and so on.
For us, with the example we have now, we have an investor coming into the country and saying this is what we are going to invest in, and we see that same investor getting caught trying to smuggle out $50,000 along with his son $100,000. So does this mean that these are the type of investors that we have in our country coming in?
Well, I don't think these type of investors sort of endear themselves to foreign direct investment because for FDI should be for the long term and not for short term and personal and very limited, narrow gains.
Thank you very much. That's all we have for you in terms of this story that we are following. We'll keep you updated as we go along. It's back to the studio. Nicola?